In chapter 2 is introduction to organizing. Now, in your organizing, as we all have studied earlier, organizing is integrating. It is basically a process of integrating, coordinating, and mobilizing the activities of members of a group for seeking a common goal. Okay, how effectively you're going to organize in order to achieve your particular organizational goal, and how you are going to allocate your resources, how you're going to achieve the particular objective, how you're going to structure your organization, and how you're going to basically act in two big ways. Okay, basic one. So this is with your introduction of planning, organizing. Now, after organizing, you have your concept of organizing. Now, what is the concept of organizing? Concept of organizing is basically in management. Okay, organizing in management refers to relationship between people, work, and resources which are used to achieve your common goals and objectives. Okay, this is your concept of organizing. Next, you have meaning and definitions of organizing. Your meaning of organization is basically, as we studied earlier in the concept, organizing in management refers to relationship between people, very important, people, work, and resources, okay, which are used to achieve the common goals and objective. This is all you need to know in the meaning of organizing. Next, you have definition of organizing. In your definition of organizing, you could refer to any of the definition of your choice. Now, I will tell you all the definition of Chester according to Chester I. Bernard. Okay. Now, organization is a system of cooperative activities between two or more persons. Basically, as we looked into the meaning also earlier, it is basically a combination of the relationship between people, work, and resources. You're combining all of these to achieve a particular objective. So, you are cooperating between various activities in order to achieve a particular objective. Next, you have features of organization. Features of organizing is nothing but it outlines the objectives. Now, it outlines the objective. Basically, here when you are organizing, you will know what your objective are and how to achieve these particular objective. Basically, you're getting an outline, you're getting a framework as to how you need to achieve, whether it is a short-term objective, whether it is a long-term objective, whatever it is, you're getting an outline of the objective. Next is defines and enumerates the activities. Basically, it will define the objective for you and it will enumerate the activities. It will tell you what are the activities that need to be performed in order to achieve the particular objective. Okay, then it helps in assigning the duties, delegation of authority. Okay. Delegation of authority as to how you have to delegate the particular authority and assign duties in order to achieve the goals and objectives. Okay. Next is it helps in defining and granting the authority. Defining and granting the authority is nothing but how you are going to define your objective and how you are going to select the right person for the right job and how you are going to give duties to each and every person. Okay. Then it helps in creating authority relationship. It helps in creating authority relationship is basically you will know who the boss is, who the subordinate is, who is the manager, who is the finance manager, marketing manager. You will be able to delegate the authorities effectively. That is what it is saying, and it helps in creating authority relationship. Now, what is the need for organizing? Need for organizing is nothing but it is a whole process of organizing. Okay, the whole process of organizing. Why do you have to organize? See, if this book wasn't organized, would you know what topic would come after one by one? Or one after one? No, because it is organized, you know which is chapter 1, which is chapter 2, what are the topics under chapter 1, what are the topics under chapter 2, and all of that, right? So you involve a whole department and you're telling the whole department what are the objectives, what is the objective of the organization, and how the entire department has to contribute towards the achievement of this particular objective. Okay, it is a clear-cut division of work. When you're talking about clear-cut division of work, it is basically you're telling each and every individual as to what work they have to do and how you're going to delegate the authority, how many people are going to be there in finance department, marketing department, HR department, and how you're going to delegate the authority. Okay, organizing virtually means discipline both. Okay, how you're going to discipline, how you're going to make sure that each and every person is given similar work, no favoritism is done, how you're going to manage the roles and responsibilities or whatever the relationship is. Okay, this is again the need for organizing. Then structure of organization facilitates formal communication. Formal communication through lines of authority established from top to lower levels. It also determines the pattern of interaction amongst various employees. Okay, basically top level and top, medium, and lower level management. Okay, this will be your top, lower, and low, middle, and lower level. How you're going to delegate the authority, what is going to be the pattern of communication, whether decisions will be taken in the top management and it will be told to the middle and low level management, and how we are going to communicate information from lower to top. Okay, all of this will also be and the need of organizing. Next is the importance of organizing. Why is organizing so important? Because it will help you in facilitating administration and management. It will help you in the growth of, this is all very self-explanatory, okay? Now, it'll help you in administration and management. Basically, how are you going to administration management? Delegation of authority, motivation of employees, how you can avoid duplication of work, okay? How you can increase the managerial efficiency. You should be smart enough in order to answer these particular answers, okay? Next is it helps in the growth of enterprise. Basically, your diversification, your globalization, expansion, growth, okay? It ensures optimum use of human resource. Optimum use of human resource is basically different individual will have different knowledge, skills, and activities and everything at a different intelligent level, right? How you're going to use each and every employee skills, knowledge, and viewpoints. Next, it stimulates creativity. Basically, everyone will be involved in the decision making, and everyone will be given an opportunity to involve themselves and give their own ideas. It is a tool of achieving objective, okay? It helps you in setting of objective and achieving the overall objective of the organization. Prevents corruption, basically avoids duplication of work, and also helps in maintaining sound activities of the organization. Then it helps in coordination. It helps in coordination between various departments and also between the employees. It eliminates overlapping. That is, once you are organizing, you know as to what has to be done after step 1, step 2. You will avoid overlapping because everything is planned effectively and organized effectively, okay? Next, you have process of organizing. Now, under your process of organizing, in your organizing, it is basically, organizing is, see, it is a step-by-step process, okay? After it is a step-by-step process, it in the general light, 8-step process. It is basically an 8-step process. To begin with the first step, it is the fixing of common objective of the organization, okay? You will fix the common objective. This is a very important topic. Firstly, you will fix in the common objective. In the second step, the top management will identify what are the activities and how you have to achieve your predefined objectives. Next, in the third step, you will have related activities and make individual departments, whether it is finance department, marketing department, you will set aside, you will make individual departments. Now, in your fourth step, you define responsibilities. After you've set the departments, first you have common objective, then you will define your objective, then you will set departments, then you will give rules and responsibilities to people, and you will also put different people in different departments based on their skills and capability. Fifth step is delegation of authority, okay? This is your fifth step. Sixth step is how you're going to maintain your relationship between superior and subordinates. Again, it is your hierarchical structure, that is top level, medium level, and lower level. Then in your seventh step, basically how all staff members will be provided with essential requirements like money, material, okay? As we looked into the earlier topic also, how you're going to distribute your finances and how you're going to plan out your budgeting. In your eighth and your final step, it is basically how you coordinate all the efforts of the staff member and direct it towards achieving the common objectives of the organization. How effectively are you going to coordinate all the activities to achieve the common objectives of the organization? Next is, again, you have organization, how effectively you're going to organize each and everything. Then again, you have meaning and definition of organization. Organization is nothing but, earlier we studied what is organizing, now we're studying what is organization. Now, organization is basically a process of establishing relationship among the members of enterprise. The relationship created terms, authority, and responsibility. To organize is to harmonize, coordinate, and arrange in a logical and orderly manner. How effectively are you going to arrange in a logical and orderly manner? You can refer to any of the definition for a particular organization. According to Chester I. Burnett, organization is a system of cooperative activities of 2 or more persons. Okay, for organizing also it is the same, for organization also it is the same. You can refer to this particular definition because it will be easy for you to remember, and you will only have to by heart one particular definition for 2 things, that is organizing and organization, according to this particular person. Okay, next you have nature of organization. Now, under your nature of organization, you have organization as a process. Now, organization as a process is basically, it is a step-by-step process how you're going to achieve the goals of the organization. Creative ideology, how effectively you bring about people and how you involve them in decision making by taking necessary ideas. Organization as a group, basically you're involving each and every person, you're recognizing each and every person, you're giving individual attention in order to achieve your goals and objective, for the attainment of goals and objective. Next is organization as mechanism of management. Mechanism of management is nothing but how you're going to control various activities of the management. It could be planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, how you are going to bring about and manage all of these various things, okay, how you're going to coordinate. Next is organization as a function. Function is basically how you're going to combine all the activities, again, that is your marketing function, HR function, all of these functions, how you're going to coordinate. The organization as a system is basically how you're going to cooperate between your people, process, okay, your employees, your money, your budget and everything, how you're going to cooperate. Next is organization as a structure of relationship, how you're going to structure your relationship between your tall, medium and lower level organization, in your top, medium and lower level organization. Organization as means and ends. The organization as means and ends is basically, organization is mean, it is not an end, okay, you do not end at a particular point, it is continuously planning, organizing, staffing is going on, there is no end to it, okay. So this was your nature of organization. Next you have objective or purpose of organization. The objective or purpose of organization, your objectives are, it helps in it facilitates attainment of objective through proper coordination, minimizes conflict between individuals over this jurisdiction, self-explanatory goals, eliminates overlapping and duplication of work, decreases likelihood or run arounds, okay, aids in wage and salary administration, it is adding as an advantage in salary and administration, facilitates easy and better communication of our organization hierarchy, and permits effective delegation and decentralization, promotes for optimum use of technology improvements and enhances efficiency of workers quantitatively and qualitatively, clear-cut lines of authority and responsibility in organization, which helps in activating and controlling the functions of manager, facilitates an orderly growth and expansion of the particular enterprise. Okay, these were your objectives of the organization. Next, you have principles of organization. Under your principles of organization, it is basically how effectively you're going to establish and accept all the general statements. Okay, firstly it is principle of division of labor, how you're going to divide your labor, how you're going to divide the works and activities, okay, how you're dividing your task, okay, it is a principle, how you're going to encourage for job specialization, how you're going to increase your efficiency, and how you're going to enhance your smooth and flow of work, okay, facilitate smooth and functioning of the work. Next is principle of functional definition. Functional definition is nothing but how you're going to define how an individual, okay, or by department should be well defined. Okay, this principle also suggests your job, how your job should be defined, your activities, your roles, responsibilities, everything. Suppose you are given a particular job or task, how you're going to define each and every thing, and how you're going to make an employee understand as to what are the functions that he needs to perform and how he needs to achieve the objectives. Next is principle of scalar chain. Principle of scalar chain is nothing but it is the line of authority or command. Okay, it is basically how it moves from the top level management to the lower level management. Again, your hierarchical structure, how you take decisions and how you delegate your authority. Principle of span of control. A span of control is nothing but it is a command. Suppose your top management is giving a particular command, you should the lower level management and middle level management should obey that particular command. And how many see it basically your principle of span of control will also help in recognizing that there is a limit in each managerial position of number of subordinates individual manager can manage at a particular time. Okay, who is the manager who will be appointed, who is the manager who will be taking charge of the particular organization, or okay, basically how you're going to achieve the goals of the organization. Principle of unity of command. Unity of command is nothing but how one particular department will give you commands and how other subordinates will follow these particular commands and achieve the rules and achieve the goals of the organization. Who will be responsible of the results. Basically each and every department will have a particular manager who will be responsible for taking the results of that particular department to achieve the objective. Next, you have principle of objective. Principle of objective is how various departments will have objective and how you will have one single objective that needs to be achieved by the overall organization, and how you will use minimum cost to maximize your profits. Principle of responsibility is nothing but how you delegate your responsibility and authorities to achieve your rules and to achieve your goals and objectives. The principle of flexibility is how your organization is very flexible, how the structure of the organization is very flexible to achieve objectives and also to make necessary changes based on the various factors that are affecting the organization. Okay. Principle of efficiency. Principle of efficiency is nothing but how efficient you are in achievement of your objectives. Okay. Then principle of continuity is basically there is no end, but it is a means. You are continuously coping up with the changing environment and maintaining the organizational effectiveness. The principle of parity between authority and responsibility is basically how the manager should be equally to be responsible and assumed by him, and how the manager should delegate, and how he needs to carry out the particular job which is assigned to him. Next is principle of cooperation, how he needs to make sure how you need to make sure in a particular organization there is cooperation between each and every employees, and how every employee is treated in at a fair means, and no unfair activity should be done, then how nicely all the activities needs to be carried on. Next, you have theories of organization. There are three theories of organization, that is classical organization theory, neoclassical organization theory, and modern organization theory. Now, under your classical organization theory is basically it emphasizes on specialization, and very important topic, very important topic. Okay, specialization and coordination of activities. What are the specializations which are available, and how you're going to coordinate various activities. Okay, basically Henry Fayol studied for the first time the principles and functions of management. According to classical writers, the organization theory is built around four key pillars, that is division of work, scalar, functional process, structure, and span of control. Sorry, it's division of work and span of control. Okay, it is your fourth pillar. Okay, these are your four pillars as to how they have okay, these are your four pillars, that is work, scalar, and functional process. Then you have your structure and span of control. Okay, so basically these are the four pillars on which your classical organization theory is built upon. Next, you have neoclassical theory. Neoclassical theory is basically talking about how you're focusing main on the psychological and mechanical variables of the organization, how various changes in the organization can affect the working of the particular organization. The pillars of classical theory are division of work, departmentation, coordination, and human behavior. Again, it is based on four pillars. Okay, this theory is also based on four pillars, and these were taken by those postulates were regarded as modified by people acting independently or within the context of the informal organization. Next, you have modern organization theory. Again, this modern organization theory was developed earlier in 1960s. This theory was tried to overcome the drawbacks of the earlier theories. You tried to overcome the drawback of classical organization theory and neoclassical organization theory. In the words of W.G. Scott, the distinctive qualities of modern organization theory are as its conceptual analytical basis. Its reliance on empirical research. Okay, it is basically relying on empirical research, that is whatever research you're doing and whatever data you're collecting, and above all of these, how you are integrating nature. Now, these qualities are basically framed in philosophy, which accept the promise that is only meaningful way to study the organization and its system. This theory may be understood in two approaches, that is systems approach and contingency approach. Okay, now your systems approach and contingency approach, basically it's not given to you. Okay, now under your modern organization theory you will have two approaches, that is systems approach and contingency approach. Okay, these are the two approaches under your modern organization theory. Very important topic.